Hello, Kyle.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you.
So let's get started, shall we? What is Ukrainian Orthodox?
Okay. Ukrainian Orthodox is the Orthodox Church in our area. We're under the auspices of the Ukrainian hierarchy. So that's what it is. In the canons of the churches, every country has their own Orthodox Church. Orthodox Church of Britain, Russia, Ukraine, but because of the communist problems, we have a mixture in the West, Romanian, Greek. Anyways, we are under the Ukrainian auspices. The founding fathers were Ukrainian, but they hold to those principles of the Orthodox Church and the Divine Liturgy.
Right. So then what distinguishes Ukrainian Orthodox from other churches in the Lethbridge area?
Okay, I would say the emphasis on the Orthodoxy is geared towards the Eucharist and the communion of the Holy Trinity becomes our goal of our operation. So we got communion with one another.
Right.
Very liturgical.
Okay.
You want to get into the theology?
Let's get into a little bit of theology.
One of the particular distinguishing characteristics of Orthodoxy is the fact that it's a communal, but it's a relational language, or it's a relational understanding. So that our whole focus is the Holy Trinity and the unity within those three, yet there's one God, there's three parts.
Okay.
And yet within those three parts they're distinguished, but they're not distinguished because they're in that close of a union. And so our whole theology and our practice is all about that communion.
Okay. I noticed that when people were coming in, they actually went up to the front and they kissed a lot of. Can you talk a little bit about the kissing?
Okay. The kissing is just one aspect of the veneration or the honoring of what God has given to us. So this is the same thing with the communion.
Right.
God gives us the blessings, and so we take it, and He blesses it,
Right.
and then we give it back to Him. So in the same way, we've taken our works, painting, icons, whatever, and they've been blessed, and so in turn we use them to bless and praise God.
Right.
So what they were doing is not just praising God with our minds, but with our whole body as well.
Right.
And giving thanks to God for the saints, for the Gospels, and everything.
Right. It was all standing. I noticed that there was one part where we all sat down. Throughout the whole thing, everybody was standing. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, the part is in the Old Testament, even in Revelations, the people are always standing before God.
Right.
So it helps in that, but it also, if we're standing, it also usually keeps our minds from being distracted about other things like the pot roaster.
Right.
And as well, it also helps in the eating because, like I said, there's not that dichotomy, that we're just body and soul. So when we die, the one is separated for eternity. No, it's all of us. So we're complete. So in our worship as well, not only do we worship with our minds, we worship with our heart, we worship with our bodies.
Right. So I guess you stand for the whole hour and a half. Yeah.
See, and in Russia, you could some services you could be there for 8 hours.
Yeah. Just standing.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I noticed during the service that everybody faces the front.
To the east.
Right. To the east. Okay.
If they're built right. Otherwise, they'd be facing towards iconostasis.
Yeah.
And actually, it's towards the altar.
And then I've been to other services where the priest faces the rest of the congregation. Does the priest also face the rest of the congregation?
Only when he blesses them. See, because like I said, there's that communion. So even though the priest is a priest, he's still a person, and his job is to direct our prayers to God.
Right.
So he's praying along with his back, facing the people, because he's praying with the people as well.
Right.
See, it's a different tone because, and you could almost construe it otherwise as if he is God himself and the people are praying to him.
Right. In, I guess, non-Orthodox.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So in what ways does your church get involved with the community?
know what, before, I don't think they did very much.
Right.
However, the old style doesn't work anymore, so now well, you're here,
Right.
communicating with other people.
Right.
We're even on friendly terms with other churches, St. Peter and Paul,
Right.
St. Vladimir's. We do stuff with the food bank and stuff.
Okay.
We're very much more community oriented.
Do you think the change in immigration in Canada is affecting the growth of the church in Lethbridge and I guess Canada as a whole?
Okay, church as in which?
Let's say this
The
church.
Orthodox,
Yeah.
this particular church?
Yeah.
I would say the immigration has changed it quite a bit.
Okay.
Because it's, we've got like 13 different ethnicities represented. Some of them have been here, almost from the beginning.
Right.
But in the last 3 years, we've experienced a growth in the Moldovan and Romanian populations.
Okay.
And in fact, some of the language, we're incorporating it into the services.
Right. Do you find that, I don't know if you would know, but do you know if that trend is just in this church or if it's like across Canada?
See, we're unique.
Okay.
In that sense. I'll have to speak particularly for our church, because we are there's another Orthodox church here,
Okay.
but there's just the two of us. And the Greeks, I don't think they ever had their church here. The Serbians had their own church here, but they couldn't maintain it.
Right.
So we basically see ourselves as the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, but the Orthodox Church for everybody.
Okay. I see.
So that's why there's Greeks and Romanians and everybody else here.
Right.
Whereas if you go to like Calgary or Toronto, they're still very ethnic yet. Because if you can go to an English-speaking one,
Right.
or if you want Russian, you can go. You've got those options. Whereas here you don't.
Right. Is this church here involved in some way with neighboring Orthodox churches, say in Medicine Hat or in Calgary?
Okay, there is no Orthodox church in Medicine Hat, so
Okay.
we would be cooperative with Calgary,
Okay.
because that's where we get our priests from.
Right.
Okay, but also we have close ties with the OCA in Cranbrook,
Okay.
BC, and we did have some ties with the Moose Jaw OCA as well.
All right. Right. So you guys, you're not isolated.
Yeah, no, we're not. And in fact, Dr. Sanger, he's from the Ukrainian Orthodox Church in Edmonton.
Oh, okay. So he made a special trip down.
Well, he was actually down. He had some business because he works at the university there, and he had some business here at the university too.
Oh,
so.
I see.
But like I said, if you're Orthodox, you can go anywhere and everywhere.
Right. Do you have youth programs set up to kind of retain the youth?
Okay, not yet.
Okay.
Let's see, because we're rebuilding. So we've got like a Sunday school program for the little kids, but we don't have really any teenagers yet. So at that point, it'll have to be something to be worked on.
Right. Right. Because I guess as the older members are thinning out, you need to recruit more of the younger members. Is it more of a family thing then? You get.
It is now.
Yeah.
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 See, you got, whether it's been westernized or not before and this is coming from the old country, you didn't question anything.
Right.
That was just the way things were.
Yeah.
Right? And so that worked fine for a couple generations, but now for our generation, that doesn't work.
Right.
The kids are asking, why do you do this? Why do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Where does your funding come from?
Primary funding is the offerings that the people give
Okay.
every Sunday.
Okay. And those are just donations of however much they want.
Just, yes.
Yeah. And then,
Sometimes people donate in memory of an event, Thanksgiving or something, or in memory of a person.
Right.
But yeah.
How would you predict the future of your church in Lethbridge?
Well, I can say we'll be here for a while, a long time. We'll probably become more either diversified ethnically
Right.
or become more the greater use of English.
Okay, that makes sense. So less.
So I'm going to be able to become more Canadian.
Kyle, thank you.
All right. Blessings to you. Thank you.
So that's what they were all about. I would say this was a successful mission. Until next time, for the R Team, Alan out.
Roll the credits. Whoa, in the beginning, it was me.